of carpet clean starting at just $129. But there's something even scarier than ghosts and goblins hiding in your home, and it's in your air ducts. This month, take 15% off your air duct and dryer vent cleaning service. Don't let a missed deal haunt you. Call 9520-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com today and ask for the AM 950 special. Backorder forward spells the same. Zero Res. With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilliup. Showers this afternoon with a high of 61, and then tonight cloudy with a low of 43. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has the best roast beef sandwiches in the Twin Cities, but don't miss their other fabulous offerings like Philly steak, brisket, fish, and more. Maverick's is located in Roseville on Lexington Avenue, 1 mile south of Highway 36. Check them out at mavericksbeef.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Welcome to the Gailey Show, the only daily LGBTQ radio news and talk show in the United States. I'm your host, John Parker. In studio with me today is my executive producer, Jim Pounds.
Hey, all.
We have got a very political show for you today. So in the second half hour, we're going to continue our conversations with candidates for Minneapolis mayor. Our guest will be Brenda Short. We've curated, by the way, all of our interviews with the candidates into a special playlist on our YouTube channel. So you can go to youtube.com/@thegailey-show, or you can find the individual episodes everywhere you stream your podcast or at am950radio.com. Or for folks in Chicago, if you'd like to hear what we're talking about, you can go to heartlandsignal.com. Up first, however, Nina Martinez-Rutherford made history as the first openly trans woman elected to the Madison, Wisconsin Common Council, currently representing District 15. Now she's announced a run for the Wisconsin Assembly in the 2026 election. Alder Martinez-Rutherford, welcome to the Gailey Show.
Thank you. What a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Likewise. Okay, I'm actually wondering, since we're coming off of the No Kings protest this past weekend, what was your reaction to the event and the upwards of 8 million people across the United States that attended?
Oh my gosh, what a beautiful day to stand up for our civic rights, to stand up for our rights. And it was beautiful here in Madison, and it was if not a little warm, unseasonably warm. And I have to say, Madison is so weird, and I love it so much. When a cloud came over the sun, the crowd applauded. And I knew that I belonged here even more than I already knew.
Roughly speaking, how big was the group there in Madison? I imagine it was a good turnout.
Yeah, they said around 15,000 was the estimate.
Wow.
It was pretty crowded and beautiful. And from what I saw, there were no arrests. So what a beautiful, peaceful day,
Do you recall any fun signs? I think I saw one here about Minnesota nice, not ice, or something to that effect.
There were a lot that were my favorite that I cannot really say on air right now.
Thank you. Appreciate
some of them referring to the neck of our person that's in charge right now, I guess. Anyway.
Love it.
Yeah.
So, as we all know, the federal government is currently shut down as the MAGA party refuses to negotiate with the Democratic Party over healthcare costs. Specifically, for listeners, the Democratic Party wants to negotiate extending subsidies for those folks on the Affordable Care Act. MAGA is refusing to negotiate. Nina, how do you see the cost of healthcare impacting the residents of Wisconsin District 76, for which you're running?
Well, I think all of us are, feeling the crunch everywhere, not to mention in our healthcare budget. As a trans person, as somebody who has been in the service industry for most of my life, I know what it's like to go without healthcare. And so, and the older I get, the more I need it, which is really sad to to know, but also, it's hard to make ends meet. And when we have to worry about access to healthcare, the stress of that alone causes more medical issues. So I think it's unconscionable that we are using healthcare as a pawn, that our politicians see fit to use the well-being of the populace as a cudgel, and that's heartbreaking. But I'm grateful for our leaders, like Mark Pocan, who once held the same constituency, that still works hard for us. It's wonderful to see them standing up for us and saying no more. We can't do this to the people.
They've already, they being MAGA in the big ugly bill, are stripping Medicaid, eligibility and just benefits for a huge millions of Americans. You're currently on the Madison Common Council. How is that showing up, for either the districts of 76 or for residents of Madison right now? I know that the full effects of that haven't come into play yet, but I imagine the worry is already setting in.
Oh, for sure. We've seen what they've been doing, taking away our right to access care, our right to have freedom and well-being, and it's pretty clear. I also know that a lot of my friends and colleagues who are members of the disability community are experiencing that more than able-bodied individuals. I look at my friends that are struggling just to have care on a daily basis, struggling for dignity. And it's terrifying to know that the most vulnerable people are who we're willing to negotiate with.
On healthcare, what is something that you would like to see the state government take on and to help, support not only the, residents of the district that you hope to represent, but all of Wisconsinites?
Right. Taking the Medicaid, expansion deal that we've consistently, chosen not to, at the expense of rural hospitals, at the expense of people who work so hard every day from 5 a.m. until dusk to put food on the table, not only for themselves, but for Wisconsinites, is just, it's horrible. Like, we're seeing clinics and hospitals close all over the state. Where are they going to go for emergency care? How are they going to get taken care of?
And why isn't that concerning the Republicans?
And who pays for emergency care when when folks don't have health insurance and they need to go get emergency care? We end up footing that bill by our hospital systems and healthcare systems raising the rates to cover that. So we're having our healthcare go up in multiple ways by the effects of this big ugly bill.
Yeah. And that's part of what the fight is, right? The fight is to expand healthcare so that everyone, not just Republicans, not just Democrats, but everyone has access to dignified care. And we're not caring for our seniors. And let's face it, our population is aging. We're not as young as we used to be. And when you start pulling those funds away or denying those funds consistently, then what are people supposed to do?
Is there any insight? I'm sure you've seen the state legislature, in session. Maybe I've never done that. I live up in District 75, Wisconsin, so it sounds like we're close, but I'm way up in Southeast Burnett County and Baronet, which is like 67% Republican, so compared to your district, which is like 99% Democrat. But I often wonder, when you sit in the legislature, what do these people say? I can't imagine how they all sit there with a straight face and and sort of ignore the obvious truth, when they can all be there together. I'm sure they're confronted by our concerns about human beings. And I'm trying to imagine all of them collectively, like Duke Tucker going, no, who cares?
Yeah.
It's astonishing to me. So I'd be so glad when you get there, because I know you'll be a voice for humanity in what has been a very inhumane state legislature, honestly.
Absolutely. For too long, the Republicans have been, we're going to fight for you, working class people. And at every chance they get, they vote the opposite way. They vote against, the rural individual's well-being. And I can't understand for the life of me how that is sustainable, and yes, I don't, look, I'm not, my bread is buttered on the Dems because they're the only party who's doing anything for the working class, right?
Right.
But when it comes down to it, I believe in the dignity of all beings, everyone. Shouldn't that be how it is, right?
We're talking with Dina Martinez-Rutherford. I love saying your name. Who is the alder for District 15 on Madison, Wisconsin's Common Council, and is now running for Wisconsin Assembly, specifically District 76. Housing was a big issue. We're talking about cost of living. Was a big issue during the 2024 election. The Harris-Walz campaign tried to address it with a number of different campaign proposals. The Trump campaign didn't offer anything specific beyond references to bringing down mortgage rates, which the president doesn't control. Since then, his administration also hasn't put anything meaningful besides speculation that he's apparently going to name a housing crisis. Again, he's going to declare a housing crisis this fall, but what that means, nobody knows yet. What is your approach to providing stable homes to Wisconsinites?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to light a fire and then come back and be like, let's put it out together. I'm a person who has struggled with housing insecurity. Fortunately, I have people in my life that have made sure that I haven't gone without sustainable shelter. But the truth is, across Wisconsin, not just in Madison, not just in Blue Madison, but across the state, across our country, we're seeing housing prices go up to an untenable rate. In fact, two of my friends who, are artists like myself have found themselves $400 more in debt with their rent every month. Like, it's that increase is devastating.
We are talking with Dina Martinez-Rutherford, who is running for Wisconsin Assembly in the 2026 elections. I have to fit in a quick break here. Before we do, I want to share about our travel partner, Travel Marquette. I just got back from Marquette this weekend. I was at the Fresh Coast Film Festival. I'll be reporting about that from tomorrow. Part of the reason why I love it is that I don't have to worry about traveling while queer there. University town, Blue City, reliably Blue County, very active Pride organization. I felt like I was able to recenter and refill my cup this weekend. And if that is something that you would like to do, you can get started at travelmarquette.com. That's travelmarquette.com. You're listening to The Gailey Show. More with Dina, Nina, and us when we come back.
The independently owned Next Chapter Booksellers is the perfect destination for your next book. The friendly staff at Next Chapter Booksellers are great at making recommendations no matter your age or taste. Plus, they have frequent events including book readings and meet and greets with authors. And they sell more than just books. They have a wide variety of puzzles and games, too. So stop in and browse the store off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Cafe Latte offers made-from-scratch soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts.
So come check out their pizza and wine bar, or get a treat from the bakery made fresh daily. Plus, you can still do online ordering and takeout, along with gift cards. Just go to cafelatte.com and choose from their ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. Cafe Latte is located off Victoria and Grand and online at cafelatte.com.
I started going cold turkey. Well, at least when I'm in the car.
I know I shouldn't do it, but it's so hard to stop. That's why I hide it from myself, so I won't be tempted.
I used to do it all the time. I stopped by locking it in my glove compartment.
My friend used to do it way too much. Now I turn it off when we're in the car.
My solution is simple. I just don't do it.
There are lots of ways to stop yourself and others from texting and driving. How will you stop? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat, is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity and styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been, out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
This season, bring the whole family to see Irving Berlin's White Christmas. This smash hit musical based on the classic film returns by popular demand to delight you at Chanhassen dinner theaters. With loads of laughter and a stunning showcase of Irving Berlin songs, White Christmas is a celebration of the romance, friendship, and magic of the holidays. Make your plans today to see White Christmas. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Welcome back to the Gailey Show. I am John Parker. We are coming up on the bottom of the hour. Dina Martinez-Rutherford made history as the first openly trans woman elected to the Madison, Wisconsin Common Council, currently representing District 15. Now she's announced a run for the Wisconsin Assembly in the 2026 election. Nina, we were talking right before the break about the housing crisis and your vision and approach to that. Can we pick it up there?
For sure. I believe that everyone deserves sustainable housing. For the life of me, I cannot understand why that's so controversial. And so coming from city government, knowing how we are kneecapped on so many levels, my priority will be to fight against some of the preemptions around inclusionary zoning and start giving cities all over the state, not just, more progressive or bigger cities, the opportunity to meet the crisis with innovative ideas. So I'm looking to propose housing innovation grants and pour into more public housing options for people so we can actually get people housed and cared for.
Can I ask, what's a housing innovation grant? Like, is that for building something or for getting your first home? Like, what is that?
It would be more for building properties that will support the people that need it most.
Mm-hmm.
Really giving communities an opportunity to meet the crisis in a way that is tailored towards their specific needs and desires. Like in Madison, we are in the process of launching cottage court zoning, meaning that you can put multiple smaller abodes on a property and create kind of a pocket neighborhood, something that gives more interest to the neighborhoods, gives them a way to communally live, an opportunity for collective ownership as well. So yeah, I keep thinking I want to buy 100 acres up north of Eau Claire and create a little tiny home commune, like that. And what better way to do that inside of a city where you can have all the conveniences you need and live on a property that you share with people that you love and really care for. So yeah, there's a lot more that I'll look into and really fight for, but coming across those housing impediments as a member of the Common Council has been very disheartening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I wanted to, because I loved on your website that you were talking about a lot of cost of living issues on there, and you seemed like very zero focus. I mean, not zero focus, but like laser focused on this particular issue. And I think that's something. If I can look at the intersection, if we can talk about that between cost of living and the queer community, I think a lot of people in the media, and as a member of the media, think of the LGBTQ community as having lots of disposable income and living all these fabulous lives, especially since we all got married, right? And in reality, LGBTQ youth are more likely to be unhoused than their straight peers. LGBTQ adults are more likely to have food insecurity than housing insecurity compared to their straight colleagues. I mean, there was a study from a couple years ago that said over a quarter of LGBTQ respondents reported that they didn't have enough money in the past year for their food budget. And that was less than 20% for straight respondents to that survey. Can you talk to me about that intersection between cost of living and being a member of the queer community, and how you would look at that in the Wisconsin Assembly?
Yeah, well, it is one of those things that I find so interesting when I tell people most of your issues are also queer issues. You know, the cost of living crisis impacts queer people so profoundly, and especially when it comes to trans individuals. We know that we're even within the general queer population, trans individuals and non-binary people are the ones who experience that in greater measure even. So when we meet the needs of the most vulnerable, we create a society that gives people the opportunity to learn about who we are better. And I believe that everyone should be treated with that dignity. And that's what it comes down to. You know, it may sound like a queer issue, but it's a people issue. And I wish we could get people to understand that more. I often say that we belong to each other, right? We're responsible for each other. And the more we realize that, the better our world is going to become. When we realize that we can't do anything alone, like I don't govern in a vacuum. I don't show up at the table at the council fresh out of a Ziploc, you know. I show up with carrying my experiences and the experiences of my constituents and the people that I love, and I bring that to the table. That's what we bring to the table. We don't bring our own solo perspective. We bring the collective perspective so that we can make a better world for all of us. I'm not interested in having a queer dominant culture. I'm just interested in having a queer inclusive culture, a way that we can come together and talk about these issues that face all of us in a way that esteems and dignifies us. It's mind-blowing to me that we can dehumanize people so much that we think they don't deserve to have well-being as our children deserve to have well-being, as our family members deserve to have well-being. So my message is more of a collectivist message, a message where we all esteem each other and we create better so that we can actually achieve better together.
I have about 90 seconds left, and this is a huge question. But what you're talking about there, like, reminds me that 86% of queer folks voted for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in last year's election. But we're seeing a lot of Democratic pollsters and think tanks and a certain popular governor who are saying it's a choice. You either have to have democracy or queer people. You can't have both. Let's just stop talking about LGBTQ rights. How do we reconcile that on the left within the Democratic Party?
We have to give people a vision of the better that we want. And that better includes my mother who's MAGA. That includes all of us, right? Instead of saying, like, yeah, we can troll and it's fun to watch a troll. But when a troll says, I'm going to value a people group more than the rest of you by negotiating away your right to have life-saving access to care, then that's the problem, right? There are people who are out doing amazing work, but when we don't esteem the people that we consider the lowest rung of society enough, then we don't have better, and we will never have better, and we will deserve what we get.
Thank you very much, Dina and Nina, for joining us here on The Gailey Show. First appearance, but I hope it won't be the last. If you want to learn more about Dina and Nina's candidacy, you can go to votedinanina.com. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, and please support the campaign with donations and volunteering.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Hey, Minnesota, it's Brad Friedman, host of the Bradcast. We'll expose all the latest schemes, frauds, and more. Weeknights at 7 on AM 950.
Your time is precious. Why are you still mowing your own lawn? I'm Alex Knorr, a young, hardworking entrepreneur serving the Southwest Metro with affordable lawn care. At Buzzcut Mowing, I offer weekly mowing, leaf cleanups, aeration, dethatching, tree trimming, and mulch installation. I work hard so you can relax and enjoy time with family and friends. Call today and I'll handle the rest. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com. That's buzzcutmowingmn.com.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer and experienced damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612.
I don't know how to work it. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hi, Brenda. This is John.
Let's see.
Do you see the chat on the right-hand side of the screen?
Yes.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Do you need my camera on?
Do you mind?
No. It's an icky background, but because I have to be at the library because they're doing construction at my house. But I will try to figure out how to turn the camera back on. Oh, I think this button. Okay. There we go.
Well, that works. That works. Yep. So I should have said this is a hot mic right now. We're still saying hello to the folks we're still streaming on our YouTube channel right now. We've got about 30 seconds before we come back. Do you have any questions for me before we get started?
No.
Okay, great. I'll put a time cue in the chat there so you know exactly how many seconds we've got before we come back. Great. Thank you, Brenda. So
no
happy
problem.
to have you here.
Thank you.
With a high of 61, then tonight cloudy with a low of 43. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has the best roast beef sandwiches in the Twin Cities, but don't miss their other fabulous offerings like Philly steak, brisket, fish, and more. Maverick's is located in Roseville on Lexington Avenue, 1 mile south of Highway 36. Check them out at mavericksbeef.com. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Coming to you from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Welcome back to the Gailey Show, the only daily LGBTQ radio news and talk show in the United States. I'm your host, John Parker. We are 33 minutes after the hour. A couple weeks ago, we broadcasted live from the Home Hope Health Minneapolis Mayoral Candidate and Voter Education Forum. And then AM 950 Radio broadcasted that forum live. You can watch it on our YouTube channel. But we here at The Gailey Show wanted to continue that coverage. So we are inviting candidates for Minneapolis mayor to join us for conversations specific to the LGBTQ community. and we are continuing those interviews today, where each candidate who joins us will be given the same questions and the same amount of time with which to answer them. We've curated all of our interviews with the candidates into a special playlist on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@thegailyshow, or you can find the individual episodes everywhere you stream your podcast and at am950radio.com. Today, our guest is candidate Brenda Short. Brenda has worked in the healthcare sector for a number of years, including having roles at Allina Health, Fairview Health, and Park Nicollet. And Brenda ran her own small business, which was a respite services business. After graduating from high school, Brenda pursued a career in criminal justice, but due to unforeseen circumstances, fate brought her to the Twin Cities, where she faced homelessness with her 3 children. All of these experiences inform why Brenda is running for mayor, because she has lived through these struggles, and she joins us today. Thank you, Brenda, for joining me on The Gailey Show.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right. Can we start with, can you share with our listeners specific actions that you have taken in your career to support the LGBTQ community?
A lot. Actually, I'm always supporting my community, your community, by offering support, because regardless of anything, as a Black woman, we have a lot of the similarities. We are being discriminated against regardless of anything. And all my everyone needs a listening ear. Everybody says I'm like the big mama that everybody wants to talk to and just hear something positive when you're down. So I'm that listening ear for that community. So, and I love it.
Thank you. So my next question is, in 2024, according to exit polls, 86% of LGBTQ voters cast their ballots for the Harris-Walz ticket. However, since November, pollsters for Legacy Media and the Democratic Party, think tanks, a popular Democratic governor, have called for centrists and moderates, as well as the Democratic Party, to either downplay LGBTQ rights or to just stop supporting certain rights altogether. This comes at a time when the LGBTQ community is facing the Trump administration, who is banning LGBTQ school curriculum, ending educational supports for LGBTQ students, revoking federal funding to colleges and healthcare systems that offer pro-LGBTQ services, banning transgender service members. As mayor, how would you reconcile this fight between those who want political leaders to downplay or walk away from the LGBTQ community at a moment when the community needs the most support against the Trump administration?
First of all, I wouldn't downplay it at all. I mean, as a Black woman, you guys are now being the next discrimination community. That's wrong. It's wrong for not being who you are. It is totally wrong. I am not supporting that at all as the next mayor. I am all for supporting you when I can, even if that means they have to lock me up, because my neighbors need to be who they are. I played football in high school, and I was the only girl. Of course, I would want. I mean, there's still not a football team in the female sector. So if any girl wants to play football, they have to play with the boys. That being said, I'm sticking with be who you are. Let them do what they want to do. Our communities, we shouldn't. I'm tired of discrimination and trying to separate our communities. This is not right. We're not different. We're just human, and we know who we are. And it's disappointing, even especially with the Trump administration. The Trump administration is so concerned about what somebody else is doing with their body, but he has no problem spending billions of dollars of giving somebody a boob job. What's the difference? There's no difference. There's no difference. What you do with your money and what you do with their body, there's no difference, sir. You're discriminating against the same thing you're doing to somebody else's body. So that's how I feel about it.
We're talking with Brenda Short, who is candidate for Minneapolis mayor. Early voting is underway. You can find your ballot and polling location at vote.minneapolismn.gov. There you can also find information on how to register to vote. Election day is November 4th. Brenda, our news partner, Windy City Times in Chicago, has discovered that in Chicago, no major hospital provides gender affirming care anymore to trans youth because their federal funding was threatened by the Trump administration. In Michigan, their attorney general put hospital systems on notice, saying that the availability of federal funds from the Trump administration does not determine whether or not they can or should comply with that state's human rights laws. And in Pennsylvania, rather, a complaint was filed by a coalition of trans people claiming that the hospital care systems who stopped providing trans healthcare were violating the Human Rights Commission. As mayor, how would you support healthcare systems in Minneapolis to continue providing gender affirming care and hold them accountable if they stop?
So Minnesota is known for supporting women to control their own body. Minnesota allows people from other states to come and have their right to have an abortion. As a mayor, I feel the same way. I feel that if someone wants to come to Minneapolis and have surgery done, that's their right. I can't stand when people want to choose and dictate someone's life when it's 2025. Come on, grow up and stand up. That's what a leader's supposed to do. I stand with you. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I am not here to say no, don't do it. No, that's your right. Just like it's the right. If I want to have another kid, I'm not having another kid. I have enough. But I'm just saying, if I accidentally get pregnant, I am not having that baby, and that's my right. And just like I said, it's your right, and I will stand hand in hand, march every day in the streets to make sure that your rights are respected and delivered to our city.
I can't believe how fast this is going. We're already at my final question to you today, which is what specific actions would you take as mayor to stand up to the Trump administration's all of his anti-LGBTQ executive orders, which includes freezing federal funding to force our compliance with all of those executive orders?
First of all, we're gonna stop him at the border because if he likes to build walls, I'm gonna build walls here too. Forget that. You guys got to understand. He is just one man, and he cannot act like this is a dictatorship. I will take him to court just like everybody else would. I would stop anybody at the borders or remove them for our city. You have the right to be here because you're already here, but you have the right to live the life you choose to live. And I'm tired of being bullied. And I'm one of those people that I love bullies. So I can stand up and stand right. That's how I feel about it. He's just a bully.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
Those are my questions for you today, but we still have a few minutes left in the segment. Would you like to share with our listeners why you're running for Minneapolis mayor?
I'm running for mayor because I'm really afraid that my neighbors will no longer afford to live in Minneapolis. As a financial advisor, I know we have so many dead bodies in our city budget. Minneapolis is the biggest city in the whole state, and we have more dead bodies in our city budget, such as Amir Locks, Justine Damon, George Floyd. These are $1 million cases. And behind that, we have $1 million cases with the officers that chose to leave us. That can't happen anymore. I used to be a peace officer, and I believe that there's a way that we can protect our police officers and still protect our community. But we first have to fix what's wrong instead of covering it up with money, because covering up with money is not resolving our issue. We need to make it safe for anybody who lives in Minneapolis. I don't care if you're in the LGBTQ community. I don't care if you're Latino. I don't care if you're Asian. Our officers should be respectful every time you see them, and we need to see them more. And our community members need to start making a real relationship with our officers, because once we get those relationships and seeing our officers and connecting with them, they will respect us, and we will love having them back in our community. Thank
I
you.
appreciate that, Brenda. Thank you for
No
joining me
problem.
today. For more information about Brenda's candidacy, you can visit Brenda short for the number 4 mpls.com. Again, that's Brenda short the number 4 mpls.com. Early voting is underway. You can find your ballot and polling location at vote.minneapolismn.gov. There you can also find information on how to register to vote. Election day is November 4th. Brenda, thank you very much for your time
Thank
today.
you so much for getting this information out. Regardless of anything, we all deserve the same right, and that's the human right. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, we will add this interview to the playlist that we have on our YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com/@thegailyshow, you will find all of our interviews that we're conducting with candidates there. We will continue these conversations tomorrow with our next candidate, who is Alejandro Richardson. And then looking ahead to next week, we will also have joining us Minnesota State Senator Omar Fateh, who will be joining us here at the Gailey Show as well. We are the only outlet on the radio providing coverage of the 2025 Minneapolis mayoral race. So keep it tuned here. You can find those individual episodes on our websites, am950radio.com and heartlandsignal.com, or you can go everywhere you stream your podcast. You can find these episodes there. Last week, we spoke with candidates Jazz Hampton and Dr. Dwayne Davis as well. All right. In the news today, something that, turning to another story, which is on a completely different train than the Minneapolis mayoral race. I don't know if you heard on Friday night, most likely you did, that the Trump administration, specifically President Trump, commuted the sentence of former Representative George Santos. Representative Santos was actually expelled from the U.S. House of Representatives for how much he lied about his life. He was actually, he pleaded guilty, by the way. He pleaded guilty to 23 federal felony crimes. This included using another person's identity. This included using their credit cards for his own personal benefit. And on Friday night, President Trump commuted his sentence. Also removed former Representative Santos's court-ordered restitution payment of $373,000 to his victims. I just want to say that again. Representative George Santos, disgraced representative, given that he was convicted of 23 felonies and was expelled by the U.S. House of Representatives, pleaded guilty, was ordered by the court to pay a restitution of $373,000 to his victims. All of that is gone now because of his sentence being commuted and Trump saying, nope, you don't have to pay that anymore. Right. So we are going to take a break here. Jim will return when we come back. Other stories that we will be covering here on The Gailey Show. You are listening to The Gailey Show on AM 950 Radio, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Hey friends, this is John Parker from The Gailey Show. When I travel, I want to go somewhere where I can unwind, get back to nature like with waterfalls and hiking, enjoy some classic downtown shopping with good restaurants, and also just be myself as a queer person without worries. That's why twice a year for the past 10 years, I've been visiting Michigan's Marquette County. This fall, join me and head up to the Fresh Coast. Visit travelmarquette.com to start your journey.
He's greedy. He's scrumptious. He's horrid. Roald Dahl's The Enormous Crocodile the Musical is on stage now through November 23rd at Children's Theater Company, featuring eye-popping puppets, a rich score with great groove, and plenty of mischievous audience interaction. Don't miss the U.S. premiere of the smash UK hit. Get your tickets for The Enormous Crocodile the Musical today at childrenstheater.org.
Hi, it's Penny from Nightingale in Minneapolis. Since 2012, we've been your go-to dining spot near 26th and Lyndale in South Minneapolis. Indulge in classics like our scallops, steak tartare, Nightingale burger, and the irresistible chocolate pot de creme. Chef Carrie keeps it fresh with seasonal dishes. We have craft cocktails and curated wines for anyone's taste. And Mondays mean half-price wine bottles. Open daily 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. with the full menu until midnight. Join us at Nightingale where good times and great flavors come together.
It's no secret that medical care costs are soaring, with nursing home and skilled nursing care costs being some of the highest. You don't have to deplete your savings in order to receive long-term care. At Schroman Law, we work with families to develop and implement strategic planning for medical assistance for long-term care, for assisted living, nursing home care, or home-based care. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer and experienced damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP. Or visit snapconstruction.com.
Welcome back to the Gailey Show. I'm John Parker. We are coming up on the top of the hour. Jim returns into the studio with me now. We want to thank again Brenda Short for joining us, Minneapolis mayoral candidate talking about LGBTQ issues with us here on the Gailey Show. We talk also on the show a lot about this current Supreme Court. And they are
Supreme Court.
The dangers that this court represents to the LGBTQ community. Almost every single, I would say every single decision has gone against the LGBTQ community under this current court. But interestingly, and I don't know what to make of it, Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett just had a sit down with the New York Times' Ross Douthat. I don't know. Actually, I've never said his name out loud before.
I don't know how to say that.
And she claims in that interview that it is unlikely that they will overturn Obergefell v. Hodges, which is the case that provided a constitutional right to marriage for queer couples. She said that there is, quote, very concrete reliance interests in that case, which would mean that is the reason why they wouldn't overturn it. And she said those are very, I'm quoting here, very concrete reliance interests, she told Douthat. So those would be classic reliance interests in the terms of the law, in terms of legal doctrine. Those are financial, those are medical. So I don't know what to do there, because just a few weeks ago, you have Justice
Gorsuch?
No, not Alito. Thomas. You have Justice Thomas giving an interview saying that precedent should not matter anymore. And so here, you know, you have, and in the New York Times interview, this was brought up with Justice Barrett, And she said that she countered that and said that the court, quote, takes precedents quite seriously, and the court really does not overturn precedent all the time, end quote. And she, cited some data that she had her clerks do that showed that this current Supreme Court is overturning precedent like once every term and not more than that. And I don't know what to do with that, because this court has so very clearly done everything that President Trump wants. And so, when all we need is for President Trump to just come out there and say, I don't want gay marriage anymore. And I feel like they are going to go along with that. Interestingly, before I get to you, Jim, is that this is following Justice Alito also claiming in an interview that the precedent set by Obergefell v. Hodges is, quote, entitled to respect, end quote. What does that mean? And part of the reason why I'm being so skeptical here is that in their confirmation hearings, Alito, Barrett, Gorsuch, they all said precedent matters. And they would rely on precedent, and they would not overturn Roe v. Wade.
Right.
And look what happened here.
Right.
And part of me, forgive me for being skeptical, but they lied essentially under oath.
Yep.
And so, or they, changed their minds, which is what we all said was going to happen. And I feel like this is maybe her trying to help shore up the image of the Supreme Court, saying, oh, no, we actually care about precedent. We're not going to touch Obergefell. Everything's fine here. Don't worry about that one. And then all of a sudden, we're going to get the case and they're going to overturn it. And something that would really help is if they finally came out and said, no, we're not going to take up Kim Davis's case. But they're still considering if they're going to bring her case forward.
Well, it's like Susan Collins saying, oh, I think he's learned his lesson, like a fool. And then she realized, because we all knew that they were being untruthful, and she seemed to be the only person over the age of 5 that didn't think they were being truthful. And so that naivete and that, like you say, I think they're just putting up protection barriers for themselves to say, well, we're thinking about it. We're not unreasonable people. They're maniacs for the most part,
well,
and not
Susan,
qualified.
Senator Collins loves going around
levels.
saying that she's bipartisan. I'm bipartisan. I'm bipartisan.
She never votes that way.
No, you're not.
She's a liar too, actually.
So I guess, I don't know. It seems like everybody's giving interviews right now. And I also have to look at the dissenting opinions that Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson is issuing, which are raising the alarm about what the majority is doing on this court.
Yep.
And I also kind of wish that, if I had an interview with any Supreme Court justice, I would want to talk about the shadow docket, which to me seems like the most dangerous thing that this court is doing. And I know I've talked about it before, and I'm going to continue talking about it, where the Trump administration is racing to the Supreme Court and asking them for something, and they're giving it to him without telling us why. And that to me is very dangerous, because they are supposed to be the final say on the Constitution. So when they're ruling that the Trump administration is doing something that is constitutional, but they're not telling us why, they're not hearing any oral arguments, they're not citing any laws, they're just saying, yes, go forth and do these things.
They've abdicated their legitimacy legally. Legally, that right there is malfeasance. They've abdicated it. I don't consider them the Supreme Court. And I think also Justice Sotomayor has been very critical of a lot of the things that they've been doing against precedent, which is what the whole Supreme Court is based on. I can't imagine somebody stupid enough to say, oh, precedent, what's that? It's been the basis of Supreme Court rulings all along. And when they deviate even a little bit, it sends ripples through everything. So there's a naivete there that I think is false. Totally false.
We're running out of time here. And I would just say that her saying that we're not going to touch Obergefell does not mean they're pro-LGBTQ.
No.
It does not.
No.
So it is this weird PR game I feel like they're doing. But anyway, thank you everyone for listening and or watching today on YouTube. Up next on WCPT 820 is Choose Views with Richard Chu. On AM 950 Radio, it's the Matt McNeil Show. Stay tuned after that for Native Roots Radio. And then at 10 p.m. Central, Step into the Unknown with Greg Bakken on Ghost Box Radio. And until this time and place tomorrow, keep it queer, America.
Keep it queer.